So as putting progressed to chipping, chipping is now going to progress to pitching. And really pitching is just the addition of wrist hinge. If I turn sideways to you, the club falls into my hand thus, and a parallel left thumb with the pressure of the pad is the ideal grip. If your thumb is long, you tend to have the wrong angle at address. So it's important now we start to use the wrist hinge that the left thumb behaves itself. So when you're off the club and tip forward, your left thumb bone is parallel to the shaft, but definitely to right of centre. The disaster is if you have a diagonal thumb this way or that way. If you only get one thing from me out of pitching, please take note of the left thumb. If the left thumb is healthy, the right hand fits it, and we're good to go. Because now my wrists hinge to 90 degrees, but they hinge in plane. If my thumb was diagonal weak, I would hinge over the plane. If my thumb were diagonal strong, I would hinge across the plane. But the beauty is, if the thumb is parallel, I hinge within the plane. So you can see that it gives me 90 degrees of wrist cock. Now you understood earlier that if I made a full chipping swing, the shoulder, arms and club would get me to about shoulder height. So that's my full chip. If I add in wrist hinge, it's now a pitch. Now obviously I'm not asking you to play in two lumps. There's just two ingredients. The backswing is 2/3 chip and 1/3 pitch. It's a mixture of shoulder and wrist. So this is chipping, shoulder only, and this is with wrist hinge. So if I mix those two, I have a full pitch swing. So the flag in the distance is 80 yards away. I can't get there with my chipping mechanism unless I took a stronger club. So I'm going to allow my wrist to hinge in the backswing. Now when I play the pitch off a square stance, I have a lofted club and I'm in the draw spin family. The ball is going to move from right to left. It's very, very hard to make a wedge move from left to right to any great degree, so you're entitled to try. So aiming the club face, applying a parallel left thumb and taking my stance, making sure that my posture is well defined. Okay, a mixture of shoulder and wrist. I blend the two, blend and release. So with a lofted club and a square stance, I'm in the draw spin family. If I want the ball to stop more quickly and go higher, then I go back to the radial ball position. So here I am, starting off with a square stance. I go around the circle a little bit to my right and I modify the face back to target. My swing path will now be slightly across the line of my feet. So this is a mixture of shoulder and wrist, and this is a full cut spin pitch. You can see it feathering slightly and landing softly by the pin. So all we have to do now is start to use distance control in the way that we did with the chip. So if I go back to the full chip, there we have it, 3/4 and half. So when we're pitching, it's just a mixture of shoulder turn and wrist hinge. So it's half a chip and half a wrist, that makes you half a pitch. 3/4 chip and 3/4 wrist, guess what? You've got a 3/4 pitch. And if you give me a full shoulder turn and a full wrist hinge, then you've got a full pitch. So you're just mixing ingredients, but the base ingredient is the mechanism of the shoulders. The chipping action is the foundation stone. The chipping action goes as far as that. When you add the wrists in, then you get more club head speed, more zip, and that's very helpful when you're in long grass and in sand. So if I want to go less distance than that, I'm now going to make a 3/4 version of the pitch. It'll be 3/4 shoulder and 3/4 wrist. And it will probably come down to about, in my case, 65, 70 yards rather than 80. So here we go, 3/4. And landing softly. So you can go right through the bag and reduce your distance control just by understanding the ingredients. Distance control comes from mixing shoulder turn to wrist hinge, and the choice is yours.